What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What's cracking, y'all? Back with another reaction video from the great YouTube channel, BTM Basketball Time Machine. Go check out that YouTube channel. Great content there. I've reacted to stuff from this guy in the past, and he knows a lot about basketball, and he does a great job putting videos together. So here we are. NBA Legends explained why Michael Jordan was way above the other stars, or way above other stars, rather. But if you're new here, I'll make it quick. I think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, in my humble opinion, and generally, my opinions are very, very humble, except when it comes to... Actually, never mind. No, it's always humble. It's just truthful. Opinions. Facts, right? Anyway, Jordan is one of those players where all the people that have played against him have nothing but glowing things to say about Mike as a competitor, as a player, as a figurehead, as a phenomenon. He has garnered that kind of respect from his contemporaries and players before him and players after him. Even the players that can't stand Michael Jordan really don't have much to say. Michael Jordan was so great, even when he was losing, before he started winning championships. You had to acknowledge his greatness because he was that phenomenal. Then even the players that despise Mike to this day can't talk shit about him without acknowledging his greatness, because he was that great. As much as they may try to dance around it and avoid it, he was so phenomenal that you can't avoid it. The worst thing that you could say about Mike, more so in the 80s than anything, is that he should have passed the ball more. Or he wasn't the team player that Magic Johnson or Larry Bird was. He wasn't the facilitator, the playmaker that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were, or even Isaiah Thomas. It's the worst thing you could say about Mike from the 80s. Other than that, what can you say? A lot of the things that some people may look at him in a negative light are the same things that made him who he was and made him a six-time champion, facilitator of 2 3-peats. So, depending on how you look at it. Anyway, let's get into this.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has...
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name's Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. Now, as you know, I cover Michael Jordan every once in a while, probably at least once a month. And yeah, obviously, it's about time. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA legends talking about Jordan and saying why he was not only built different, why he was a little bit crazy, and why he was far above everybody else. And I'm pretty happy that I found a couple of new clips that you hopefully haven't seen before. But before we start with that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoy the content. All right, you guys, let's go for it.
Is this guy a Boston Celtics fan? I always wondered why that Boston Celtics logo pops up on his videos like that.
Now, the first clip that I want to show you guys is from...
Or is this guy an ex-player? Because he seems to know some people in the league.
Vinny Baker, who used to play for the Seattle Supersonics and the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, who had a pretty interesting NBA ride. I can really recommend his book. But he says something about Michael Jordan that explains perfectly why Jordan was Jordan and other players were simply other players. Let's take a look.
To have Michael stamp you was different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be an all-star and walk through the arenas, but now people are like, yo, I need to get some of those.
Yeah.
So it was cool, man. I mean, like anybody else growing up, everybody's a Michael Jordan fan and a friendship with him. And I remember when I got traded to Seattle, we played the Bulls. And, I wanted to be in this commercial. So the Sonics were really good, man. Like, we were number one in the West at the time.
Yeah.
And I begged my organization to fly to Chicago, which is like a 4-hour trip from Seattle. And they said yes. And I got to the photo shoot, and I have Falk as an agent as well.
Yeah, Dave Falk.
So I got to the photo shoot all giddy that I'm gonna make this little slight cameo in the Brand Jordan commercial. First thing MJ says to me because we were playing the Utah Jazz the following night, and he knew that. And he said to me, "What the hell are you doing here?" I was like, true story. And I was like, "I'm coming for the commercial." That was like one of my first lessons. Like, nah, bro.
Right.
You in a place now where you winning. This is secondary. So, I learned so many lessons from him being in that brand, man. Not just being stamped for the brand, but just learning about him and his competitive nature.
This when I knew Michael Jordan was crazy. Michael's the most competitive person I've ever been around in my life. So me, him, Chuck Daly, and David Robinson go play golf one morning. We're playing Puerto Rico that afternoon. Chuck says, "Hey, guys, we played 18. Michael said, "I'm gonna play another 18. Chuck said, "We got a game tonight." He says, "I'll be good." This is how crazy Michael is. We get to the game. "Charles, you got this guy. Scotty, you got this guy. Michael, you got this guy." Michael said, "No, I got the point guard." He says, "What?" He says, "I got the point guard." He said, "You don't want to guard the two guard?" Michael's kind of leaning down. Michael looked and said, "I said I got the point guard." He said some shit about me in the newspaper, and I'm gonna get him. And we're looking around like, uh-oh, this little kid in trouble. He played 36 holes of golf, and he's guarding this dude like it's game 7. And he's talking, "Don't you ever say my damn name again." I'm looking at Karl Malone, I'm like, yo, man, there's something wrong with this dude.
And the next clip that I want to take a look at is from Antoine Walker. Now, as you probably know, Antoine Walker used to play for the Boston Celtics back in the days. Also had a bumpy NBA ride for a brief time, was even an all-star, but hey, long story. And I'm happy that I found a clip of him because I didn't feature him in any videos so far. So, hey, Antoine, this is your clip.
There's a couple of things. The first thing that stands out to me is that how Michael was able to use trash talking, one, to motivate himself, but also to motivate his teammates, especially in that last year. Any little thing that he can get an edge to motivate him, he took advantage of it, and he did it through trash talking.
There's a story circulating about a pickup game in which you elbowed Jordan in the ribs.
Ron Artest? Yeah.
What happened?
Broke his ribs. Wizards.
Real easy. What happened? Well, all right. So when it happened, I didn't leak that story. A gentleman by the name of Sam Smith,
right,
the Chicago Tribune.
He wrote the Jordan rules.
He wrote the Jordan rules?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he did write the Jordan rules.
So Sam leaked the story, and then when the story leaked, the story was, Ron Artest punched Jordan in the ribs.
Right.
When I read that early in my career in Chicago, I was sick. I'm like, this is who would write that? So I couldn't really leave the house. But anyway, what happened was we was in a game, and MJ would ask me to come back because I was 19 years old, but really competitive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of pros was in there.
Right.
And he was like, guard me. And so I was still really strong. And at that time, MJ was killing. And he broke his rib. When I broke his ribs, he sat out 3 months, came back averaging 25. And I was telling people, if it wasn't for those 3 months off, he would average 35. He was killing them.
Right.
And you talking about all-stars was in the gym.
Because that was the year after he retired, correct?
That was 1 year after he retired.
Right.
And he was cooking. So when I was guarding MJ, I was just like, I can't let him get the ball. And even in my career, I deny everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so MJ, he's so strong, he holds you.
Right.
So I'm like, I can't let him get the ball, so I'm get your arm out the fucking way. And my elbow hit him in the ribs.
Right.
And then he went like this, but I didn't know hit him right in the
You called it
ribs.
flush.
Yeah, I caught him, and then he came back down. He was like this, and he got the ball, free throw line, game over, MJ, right?
Right.
And went off like this, and I'm like, damn, MJ is nice. And then the next day, I found out he broke his ribs.
I hate it, I dislike it. I was just at Michael Jordan's 60th birthday party. He pulled me to the side. And we talked about that for 30 straight minutes.
Because back in the day, you guys...
You played every game.
There was no rest.
We want to play every single game. We couldn't wait to get out there on the court. And it's about your ego, your passion, your love for the game. It's about those fans who, like you said, paid their hard-earned money to watch you play this game of basketball.
Who were some of the guys that you saw and you watched that weren't just driven by the money? Were there some names that you looked at and says, these three guys are as crazy as I am?
At the time, I deal with what I've referred to as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain, and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. So I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league.
Meta, you've guarded all the greats. Kobe, Jordan, LeBron.
Yes.
Who's the toughest player you've ever guarded? And is it LeBron James?
Scalabrine by far. Those guys they're tough. Those guys are soft. Jordan is soft. Scalabrine.
All right.
But
now we're answering for real. He just threw out three names. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. Hardest guard.
Jordan.
Definitely.
And wait, and let me ask you. Hold on, let me ask you this question. Don't you feel like LeBron's advantage against the rest of the league, minus Mr. Peace, would be he can overpower people and he just can't do that against you?
Yeah, I think LeBron had a lot of success against me because he's unselfish. Most of the guys I stopped over the years, they were selfish. And it was easier to force him to Jermaine, easier to force him to other guys. But LeBron passes the rock. That's a problem.
Why was Jordan the hardest to guard?
Jordan's the toughest because he's strong as LeBron. He shoots just as good as Reggie Miller from the mid-range. And it's very hard, and he's tough, and he's he's a killer out there on the court.
How many points do you think Jordan can average in today's NBA?
What's the most he ever averaged? 37?
37-1.
40 is easy. 40 would be easy for Black Jesus.
Harden, a couple of years ago, averaged 36. So you figure Jordan could average 40 with no problem.
Shannon, when I talk about him, it's different, man. A lot of times it's biased because I love him so much. Like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the vision. And plus, he was the best to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I definitely think he was the best. And I don't put LeBron in the conversation because I love him so much as a person and as a basketball player.
To me, it's always super interesting when you hear those GOAT conversations, and I don't want to get into it because I covered it too many times now recently. But the one thing that is always pretty nice to me is that when you see players who actually played against Michael Jordan, and it doesn't matter if they were superstars or just stars or bench players, they all understand that there was a difference alone from his mindset from Michael Jordan to any other players. And that to me is also a big reason why he will always be my favorite player of all time. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about the comments of the NBA players. Let me also know who is your GOAT of all time. And hey, I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.
I was kind of alluding to the same things about how players revere Jordan, as he was kind of saying at the end there, but definitely, I remember hearing that Ron Artest story years ago, and and he came back. I'm pretty sure that was just before his return to the NBA with the Wizards, if I'm not mistaken, and he was basically playing after those broken ribs, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, because sometimes my memory do be a bit off and blurry, but that's why I feel like I'm not saying with absolute, 100% courage in my conviction, as what Skip Bayless says. God, I'm quoting Skip Bayless. Somebody shoot me in the head. Shoot me in the... I hope I don't get a flag for that on YouTube. Sorry. Mike was special. And I've heard Now, I heard Iverson recently in a different interview, not the one on this video, but on a recent interview, I think with Rachel Nichols, if I'm not mistaken, basically said, you know, Jordan and Kobe, he has Jordan and Kobe above LeBron James, which I could have sworn that sometime within the last 2 to 4 years-ish, I heard Allen Iverson allude to LeBron James probably being the greatest of all time, or saying he was. Now, then again, I could be confusing him for something else, but so many times I hear these players, and Shaquille O'Neal does this more than anybody. Shaq does this more. He contradicts his opinions and statements so many times. I'm like, Shaq, you literally said the exact opposite before. Shaq talks so damn much, he don't even know what he be talking about. He don't. But I do see a lot of NBA players, and I understand sometimes players change their mind, or with new evidence presents itself, you reevaluate the situation. But there's some things where there's really been no new evidence presented, or maybe not sufficient enough evidence, and players just do complete 180s. Or it'll be a little bit of evidence presented, but then they make a massive course direction based on a small amount of evidence. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. But I mean, it's their opinion, but me trying to look at it logically is just like, I don't get it. But if that's the conclusion you came to, so be it. Michael Jordan, folks, my greatest of all time. He was special, man, and I thank Michael. I thank Mike so much. Like, he's my GOAT. But I know Kobe Bryant, we wouldn't have got the same version. Kobe would have still been great, but we wouldn't have got the same Kobe Bryant that we saw if it wasn't for Mike. And you know, a lot of people didn't know how close Mike and Kobe were until Kobe's passing, and then Michael Jordan spoke on it during the memorial service. But I had already knew how close they were. And Kobe spoke about it right there, even before his passing. But even going all the way back to when Kobe was in his 20s, I knew how close him and Mike was, because I was a Kobe Bryant fan. So I was always watching all the interviews, you know, pre-game interviews, post-game interviews that people don't see. I was reading articles about, you know, interviews that weren't necessarily, you know, taped, but, you know, written and published on paper. I was in everything. So I knew how fruitful him and Mike's relationship was. To be honest with you, even going back, I saw for the first time I noticed their friendship and their openness with one another was in the 1998 All-Star game. That was the first time I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay. And it just blossomed even more after that. So I thank Mike for that, because, hey, I wouldn't have got Kobe if it wasn't for Mike. That's just the truth, man. Let me know what y'all think about it. Sound off in the comment section, please. All right? I appreciate each and every one of you. Check out our Michael Jordan playlist, if you will. More stuff just like this. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, my friends, and catch you on the next one. We out, baby.